So guess who doesn't get the house or any assets of the house?
A woman marries a man, stays just 7 months, then tries to walk away with his house like she earned it. No kids, no long-term commitment, just vibes and a marriage certificate. And somehow, she felt entitled to take everything he built. Now let's pause. What would have happened if he didn't play it smart? We've seen it before. Guys get caught slipping, emotionally invested, legally blind. And boom, she walks away with half his net worth because she deserves to be comfortable. But this guy, he played chess while she played checkers. She thought she was gaming the system, but the system had a surprise for her, a man who wasn't afraid to protect what was his. And the best part, she didn't see it coming. She assumed the court, the culture, the narrative would back her just because she showed up with a last name. But when you confuse access with ownership, you learn real quick that not every man is built to be finessed. This is a lesson in patience, in planning, and in what happens when delusion meets preparation. Before we dive in, drop a comment. Are modern men more delusional, or is it the ladies? Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what we expose next. Because this story, it's just getting started.
Trying to explain to a man that if a girl says to leave us alone, do anything but leave us alone. Unless it's said multiple times, but most of the time, girls just we want the attention. We want you to
Honestly, at this point, men should just be using this as a screening tool. Just wait for her to have this moment where she tells you to leave her alone and then actually leave her alone and see what happens. Because if she appreciates your respect of her boundaries, that is a green flag. But if she has the opposite reaction, she doesn't appreciate it, run. Just run.
Let's
There's
make this
nothing more
clear
to
once
it.
and for all. Men are done trying to play therapist, translator, and mind reader all rolled into one. See, the modern dating dynamic has turned into a linguistic landmine. Women say one thing, but expect a man to decode what they really meant. Say, leave me alone, and then get angry when he actually walks away. Say, I'm fine, and secretly expect him to launch a full emotional investigation. It's emotional bait, and men are done biting. We're not mind readers. We're not walking lie detectors. We respond to what you say because that's the mature, logical thing to do. If your words don't match your intent, don't expect men to play psychic. And here's the double standard. Women constantly demand emotional intelligence from men. Open up, be vulnerable, communicate better. But when it's their turn to be clear and direct, suddenly it's riddles, emotional tests, and if he really cared, he'd just know. No, he wouldn't just know. And frankly, he shouldn't have to. Men aren't interested in passing some emotional obstacle course just to prove they're worthy of love. We're not sitting here trying to solve puzzles designed to fail us. So many men today are walking away from the dating scene not because they hate women, but because they hate the games. They want peace. They want clarity. And modern relationships are serving confusion on a silver platter. You can't demand accountability, communication, and emotional leadership from men, while refusing to do the same for yourselves. At some point, the emotional dodgeball gets old. And when men say, I'm out, they mean it. No more second guessing. No more mixed signals. You said what you said, and this time, we believed you.
I literally feel sick to my stomach right now. Tonight, a man stood me up on a date via his assistant. So I had matched with this man on Raya a few days ago. Let's call him Andrew. He's 40 years old, and we didn't really have much back and forth conversation. He just straight up asked me out for dinner tonight, Tuesday at 7 p.m. I did think it was kind of weird that he kept things on the app. Like usually guys will ask for your number and they'll just be texting you, but he kept things on the app, which I did find a bit weird. Anyway, it was a lot of effort to get to this date because I had spent the whole day in Midtown and downtown, and I had to take the subway all the way uptown to where I live, quickly do hair, makeup, get ready, take an expensive Uber all the way back downtown. I was running about 10 minutes late and I was already feeling really nervous and anxious because I didn't want to keep this man waiting. I sent him a message letting him know that I was running late. I get there at like 7:10 and I said, hi, I'm out front. And he said, okay, 1 minute. About a minute later, a man comes to meet me who is definitely not Andrew. He looks like he's like in his mid-20s, very well dressed, very attractive guy. And he said, "Are you Susanna?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Hi, I'm Andrew's assistant. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to call Andrew." So he gets his phone out to make a phone call, and he walks halfway down the block, so I can't hear what they're saying, but I can tell that the conversation is not good because his body language seems quite upset. Then about 2 or 3 minutes later, he walks back to where I'm standing and he said, "I'm sorry, it's not going to work out." And I said, "Oh, can I ask why?" And he said, he has a different type. And then he walked off and left me standing on the side of the road in full going out clothes and heels. And it was clear that he really didn't want to engage further with me. He was clearly trying to get away from me as fast as he could. And I checked the app a couple of minutes later and I had already been unmatched. I have so many questions about this situation. Firstly, you saw my photos and you initiated the conversation with me. Like, this man messaged me first, inviting me to dinner. How could I not be your type when you can see what I look like from your photos? Also, this was not a catfish situation where he meets me in real life and I've heavily photoshopped my photos and I don't look like that in person, or I'm really overweight in real life. These, not only are these recent photos, but I've actually had a lot of men who met me on apps tell me that I actually look better in real life than I do in my photos. So I don't think it's a catfishing issue. It just upset me because I was just like, you really wasted my time. The getting ready time, the fact that I put an evening aside for this that I could have scheduled anything else, and not to mention the $40 or $50 I spent on an Uber downtown. Also, how humiliating it is to be left standing in the middle of the road because I'm apparently not good enough to be worthy to be seen by you. That's the other thing. This man didn't even come out to see me. Apparently I wasn't even worthy of his time or his eyes even having to look at me. I wasn't even worthy of being in his presence. And that's the other thing, like, it's amazing how the assistant just knew what his type was. He has a different type. How do you know? So yeah, that's my Tuesday night. How about you?
So a woman is genuinely offended because Ryan, a 40-year-old man with actual standards, decided not to wait around for someone who couldn't even respect his time. And to make it even more poetic, she openly admits that his assistant, the one who delivered the message, was very attractive. That's the part that really got under her skin. But let's ask the obvious question, why is she confused? She was late, not running to the door late, not I hit traffic late. We're talking disrespectfully late. The kind of late that screams, my time matters, yours doesn't. See, this is where modern entitlement kicks in. A lot of women walk into these dates expecting red carpet treatment, but don't bring the red carpet behavior. Ryan didn't ghost her. He didn't pull a disappearing act. He sent a message through a professional, no less, that her shot had expired. That's not petty. That's not rude. That's called boundaries with class. And the moment she realized the assistant was beautiful, suddenly, the situation wasn't just inconvenient. It was threatening. Because deep down, she knew what that moment symbolized. She got replaced by someone who respects time, presentation, and professionalism. Let's keep it real. You don't get to demand high-value men, then show up with low-effort behavior. Time is the currency of success. And successful men don't spend it on people who treat it like it's infinite. There's a reason men like Ryan don't chase. They don't reward disrespect even when it comes dressed in heels and expectations. So what's the takeaway? Being late isn't quirky. Being inconsiderate isn't empowered. If you want to sit across from someone who's worked hard to build something real, you better show up ready. Because when you fumble a man with standards, you won't always get a second chance. Sometimes the assistant shows up and politely lets you know the door you were knocking on is now closed.
With friends, they left me there, so I went to the bar, thought I would just enjoy the rest of my drink by myself, go home, whatever. A man pulls up a seat next to me. He seems nice, handsome. We're having a good conversation. Everything's fine. I think everything's fine. Until he says to me, hey, I think you're really beautiful. Normally I would love to ask you out on a date, but I'm a little bit scared. I said, scared? What do you mean? He said, I don't know, I just get this obsessive vibe from you. How so? I'm like, I literally just met you. What do you mean? What is it? What is it? Is it my eyes? He said, I don't know, it's just a vibe. I feel like if we went out, we would end up back at your place and I would end up like locked in your basement and people would be like looking for me. Well, you would love my basement. I've got it ready for you right now. I've got new AC, new mattress, fresh towels. I'll take you out once a week at twilight. We'll dance and we'll watch movies and you'll like it until you learn to love it. You're gonna learn to love an obsessive woman.
You can love a person, miss a person so much, but still have the wisdom to know they're not your person and you're better off not together.
Ready with me on my floor while I talk about things that I'm doing to cope with my divorce at age 26. One thing that I'm doing, which is what I'm getting ready for right now, is I've been going to the gym. I've either been going to the gym or I've been walking. So other than like wanting to lose weight and like be more confident and everything, I honestly started walking a lot because I was having such bad anxiety dealing with the divorce and just like being so worked up, and I was off of work. I didn't have anything else to do. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for a walk. And I made a little video about this before on my page, but when I would go on these walks, I wouldn't listen to like motivating music or anything like that. I would literally walk, listen to sad music, and a lot of times I would cry, which is probably kind of weird to some people. But it honestly helped quite a bit because I would sit there and I would listen to these songs that I would resonate with. And then I would just kind of get to a point in the walk where then I would like start getting like mad. I would start getting like pissed off about the situation. So many people would be like get mad at the situation, like to help me with like my sadness and stuff like that. And I could never like I was just like, I can't, like, I mean, I was mad, but I was like, I love this person. I can't be mad at this person. Like, I don't know. It was really hard for me to get angry, but like I said, I feel like listening to all these sad songs that I like really resonated with then made me feel like, I don't know, more motivated. And then eventually, like towards the end of the walk, I would be mad. I would be pissed off, but like I would come down from like the severe anxiety, like panic attack anxiety that I was having. So yeah, I've been walking a lot, and then I recently started going to the gym a few weeks ago, just to kind of, obviously, like I said, lose weight, feel more confident, and just to like give me something to do. Now, I had pretty bad anxiety before all of this started, which is like, I guess, part of the reason for the divorce. And so something that I would do to help me cope with the anxiety would be distracting myself. So I feel like that's the best thing for me to do right now through all of this, is continuing to find distractions. So with that being said, another thing that I'm doing, and I feel like it might be kind of crazy, is I'm going back to school. It's something that I thought about doing before the divorce. I applied to go back to school before the divorce because it was free through my work. But I was never really serious about it until like a month ago. I was like, you know what? I don't have anything else going on. My future has changed so much. My future plans have changed so much that why not just go back to school for free? And if I hate it, I hate it. Another thing that I have been doing a lot, which is like pretty, I don't know, self-explanatory, is I've been surrounding myself with a lot of like friends and family that are supportive. Specifically been surrounding myself with like my mom, my sisters, my nephews. It just feels good to be around them, and like obviously they're comforting and supportive in like what I'm going through. Another thing I've been trying to do is to like find hobbies and things that I enjoy, because a lot of things that I enjoyed was something that my partner also enjoyed, and so it's really hard for me to do those things and not think of her. So one thing is, if you knew me in high school, you knew that I was like obsessed with makeup, and like I was the 2016 makeup girl, you know what I mean? And then like COVID kind of happened. I work in the medical field, and so I had to wear masks all the time. Then I got busy with nursing school. So like makeup kind of like got pushed to the side, and then I just kind of became a person who just only wore like concealer and like powder and mascara, and that was pretty much it. But I'm trying to get back into it. I'm trying to become like a makeup girl again because it is fun and it does make you feel good about yourself. Another thing that I've obviously been doing is making TikToks. So if you know me, yep, I'm in my TikTok era. I don't know. It just is kind of like a little diary for me. Just once again, another distraction. I've had a lot of people comment on my stuff and be really supportive about things, which is really nice too. Another thing that I forgot to mention, which is like a huge one, is I've been going to therapy, and I also went through like a partial hospitalization program. So I guess if anyone wants any elaboration on that, I can go into that more. But yeah, like if you want a part 2.
So this young woman, fresh into adulthood, gets divorced in her 20s, and somehow she's treating it like a personality trait, like it's quirky, cute, even empowering. But let's be honest, what exactly are we celebrating here? We're not talking about getting over a bad haircut or ditching a toxic friend group. This was a marriage. You stood before family, before community, and made a promise, then walked away, and now it's brunch conversation? That's not liberation. That's immaturity in disguise. We're living in a culture that tells women, do what makes you happy, with zero follow-up about sacrifice, accountability, or vision. So they chase feelings, not foundations. They want the photo op, not the partnership. The ring, not the role. Marriage isn't some TikTok trend you participate in for aesthetics. It's not a status symbol for Instagram. It's a commitment, and commitments get tested. But in a generation allergic to discomfort, any test becomes an exit sign. And here's where it gets dark. Instead of sitting with the weight of a broken vow, they smile through it, post a cute caption, crack a joke, convince themselves and their followers that walking away was growth. No, growth is staying when it's hard. Growth is learning how to love when it's inconvenient. Divorce isn't cute. It's painful. It's financially devastating, emotionally exhausting. And if you're treating it like a life hack, you were never ready to build anything lasting. The problem isn't just failed marriages, it's the casual way we treat failure. No reflection, no ownership, just vibes. She wanted the title of wife, but the moment life got real, she sprinted back to the streets, giggles and all, pretending nothing sacred just crumbled. Here's the truth most people won't say: if the relationship wasn't toxic, abusive, or dangerous, and you left simply because it wasn't fun anymore, that's not empowerment. That's escapism. The relationship wasn't broken. You were. But instead of healing, you turned your wound into content. And now we're watching a generation glorify broken homes because accountability doesn't get likes but delusion. Delusion goes viral.
Well, I tell you all the things I've learned while going through a divorce at age 26. One of the first things that I learned pretty early on was that even though we share a house or shared a house, it was purchased not in my name and was purchased prior to us being married, although we purchased it together, wasn't in my name, and it was prior to being married. So guess who doesn't get the house or any assets of the house? Me. And I guess I just, even after getting married, it was just something that I had never like considered a whole ton about getting my name on the house. I probably obviously should have. But I mean, yeah, the most I could get would be what the house has acquired in value since we've been married, which was only like 7 months, so not really worth it at the point. I also know that it's different in some states. Like in some states, if you have proof of payment and like proof that you've done like home improvement and you've paid for bills and stuff, which I have all of that, you are entitled to the house. But in the state of Illinois, which is where I'm from, I'm not entitled to the house. Only things that was purchased for the house, like pre-marriage. So another thing that I kind of learned early on, but also am still learning in general, is that closure is not a real thing. Like, my idea of closure has changed now like a million times, and I'm never gonna get what I want. I'm not gonna ever get the answers that I want. And like, even if you do start getting an answer, you're still gonna want more information. You're still gonna be wanting more closure. So like, if that's what you're searching for in a breakup, divorce, whatever, stop searching. I do want to say too that not all of this is necessarily like my advice and things I've discovered on my own. I did go through like a partial hospitalization program, if you know, you know, about a month ago while going through all of this. So some of this stuff like I learned from there, and I'm only going on month 3 of the divorce, so like I'm still very much in the thick of it, and this is all still very fresh for me. So like I'm still like learning, and you know what I mean. The next thing that I have learned, or still learning, that people keep telling me is that I am grieving not only the relationship but also the future that I thought I was going to have. Like we were pretty close to like talking about having kids, moving into a new house, and so I think that's part of the reason this hurts so bad, is because I lost the person that I love, and that I just married and thought that I was going to be building a life with, but I am also losing what I thought my future was going to be. So like everything, how I thought everything looked a few months ago, completely changed. Like everything is completely different now, and that is a lot in itself to like grasp. Another thing that I have learned, and this is probably how a lot of people feel for divorce, but I don't know if I just feel like it's worse for me because I'm in my 20s still and I just got married, but it's so embarrassing. Like this could not be more of an embarrassing thing to happen to me. I don't know, like I'm obviously getting uncomfortable even talking about it because I'm embarrassed by it. With that being said, I'm trying really hard to like lean into it and to just give myself grace with it, because like it was out of my control. Like I didn't know it was going to be happening. If I could have controlled it or I could have done something to stop it, I would have. But yeah, it's embarrassing and it sucks. No matter how much people tell you that it's not embarrassing, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. No, it's embarrassing. So I lost the sound somehow at the end of that video. So I guess like if you want a part 2.
She's sitting there genuinely shocked that she's not entitled to a house that was never hers to begin with. Let that sink in. The house was purchased before the marriage. It's not in her name. They were married for a grand total of 7 months. Yet somehow she feels owed. And here's the real question. Did she even take the marriage seriously? Or did she treat the I do like a shortcut to someone else's lifestyle? This is the entitlement that's waking men up. Because imagine this: you grind for years, save every dollar, buy a home, build a life you're proud of. Then someone walks in, stays less than a year, and now feels entitled to half of it just because they were there. That's not love. That's opportunism wrapped in romance. Marriage is not a lottery ticket. It's not buy-in for benefits. You don't get to claim ownership over someone's blood, sweat, and sacrifices because you stuck around for a couple seasons. And let's flip the script for a second. If a man tried this, if a man married a woman, stayed 7 months, and then claimed her house, he'd be labeled a gold digger, a scammer, a predator. The internet would chew him up and spit him out. So why is it different when the roles are reversed? Here's the reality. This is exactly why more men are saying no without apology. No to cohabiting too fast. No to unprotected finances. No to marriages without legal protection. Prenups are rising. Boundaries are tightening. And trust? It's not being given freely anymore because too many have abused it. We're not in an era of mutual building, we're in an era of exit strategies disguised as relationships. And when women treat marriage like a business move, men will start acting accordingly. So no, she's not entitled to that house. She's entitled to her decisions, and that's it. If it only took 7 months for her to say, I'm done, then walk away with the same energy you walked in with. Don't expect a parting gift, especially not one you never earned.
Feminism isn't about wanting to empower women anymore. It's literally about wanting to be men. Who said that?
Oliver Anthony's wife just filed for divorce, and it's not the usual split things down the middle kind of deal. She's reportedly going after half of everything he already made and 60% of his future earnings. And yes, you heard that right, 60% of money he hasn't even made yet. And people wonder why men like me and Anthony are just afraid to date anymore. It's not bitterness, it's straight up survival instinct. This man went from broke in a camper to topping the charts to being financially drained by the woman who stood beside him. And before you say, well, she was there before the fame, cool, so is the struggle. But how does that justify taking 60% of his future work, his future life? That's not justice. That's a financial ambush with a wedding ring. And it sends a loud message to every guy trying to build something real. Because if one bad relationship leads to a lifetime of financial burden, why even risk it? The courts won't protect you and the media won't defend you. All they'll say is man up while you get taken advantage of. I feel for Oliver, but this is bigger than just one man. This is why trust is collapsing and why men are walking away from relationships altogether. Because if love turns into a lawsuit, then you're just better off alone. And this is for entertainment purposes only.
So apparently, Oliver Anthony's wife has filed for divorce. And get this, she's not just walking away. No. She's demanding half of what he's already worked for and 60% of his future earnings. Yes, future. As in, she wants to get paid forever for being his wife in the past. What kind of twisted reward system is that? Only in modern marriage do you fail the relationship and still collect like you hit the lottery. And this, gentlemen, is exactly why marriage laws need to change. You work your butt off. Build something from the ground up. Sleepless nights, blood, sweat, and sacrifice. And then one day, poof, she decides she's done playing house, and now she's entitled to not just your past, but your future? Where's the justice in that? If a man leaves, he's a coward. If a woman leaves, she's finding herself. And if she divorces you, you better hope you survive financially. It's no longer about love. It's about leverage. Modern marriage is just a contract with horrible terms for men. You give, she takes. You sacrifice, she sues. She gets the house, the kids, the alimony, the sympathy, and somehow you still get told you're the bad guy. It's not a union. It's a trap dressed in white lace and sprinkled with "you're not real if you don't marry her." So here's the solution. Don't. No marriage. No long-term relationships. Not in this legal climate. Focus on yourself. Learn a skill. Stack your money. Travel. Build a life that's fireproof. One that no one can walk away with just because they feel unfulfilled. Retire early and watch the world complain that you're emotionally unavailable while you sip coffee in peace. Because if a man can give everything and still lose it all, what exactly is he gaining? Love shouldn't come with a lawyer.